Today, yes today, we find ourselves all equally blessed on this journey through greater and lesser evils. Join us as we explore the hard realities and uncomfortable truths plaguing our society. So without any further ado, let's jump right in and rip this bandit off together. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Greater and Lesser Evils. Welcome back to the new enhanced set. I've got the Bionic twins next to me here. Tank and Xavier, how we doing, boys?
Hey, man, what's up?
Doing good.
I'm glad I did my nose hairs on this so everyone can see our faces.
It's so much closer. You guys asked for it. Yeah, not as good looking as you thought, are we?
This is HD.
Hey, careful what you ask for. You may just get it. So if anyone's clothes suddenly pop off in the middle of this, no disclaimers. But that's a spoiler alert right there. Just what clothes may pop off. So we're welcome back. We're coming back for episode 3 here. The Oscars were last night.
Yes.
Want to make a couple notes just before we get started here. Our man Tank called Best Actress with Emma Stone.
Yep.
You know, I scored it out of the park with all that shit, the stuff that I didn't want to say about animation and sound and costumes and editing, all that stuff. Poor Things won all that.
What are we doing today?
Today, we're going into Spaceman. Spaceman. So let's go to the data sheet here on Spaceman. As always, while we're talking about the movie, there's going to be spoilers. They're going to come in your face. They're going to come from all angles. If you haven't watched this movie, before we start talking right now, you should stop, watch the movie.
Yeah, Clark Kent is Superman. I just want to... Did you know that? Clark Kent was Superman the whole time.
Was he inside the chopper?
I don't... we're just spoiling things. Clark Kent is Superman.
The Predator is an alien.
Yes.
Okay, the Predator is an alien.
Man.
Okay.
But yeah, can you say that because the Predator's hunts aliens?
The Predator,
Predator
was an alien the whole time. I can always tell when they use real aliens in movies too. I can always tell.
Was E.T. real?
Yeah, of course. So was the Predator.
Maybe E.T. was busy on this instead of a spider. But I mean, and we're gonna touch on that spider. That spider weirded me out. I definitely saw that.
Played by who?
Well, let's just go down the list here. So we got Spaceman starring Adam Sandler, Carey Mulligan, who was up for Best Actress last night. She didn't win, but she was up for Best Actress.
I liked her in this.
And Paul Dano voicing the spider.
Mm-hmm.
It was written by, and I'm sorry, I'm not Czech, brother, but Jaroslav
Kalfar.
There you go. Hey, nailed it out of the park over here with my Tankalicious friend.
Well, he wasn't the only one. Colby Day helped.
Yep. Directed by Johan Rennick. And a budget of $40 million to do this. And no box office because it's Netflix. And there's nothing to report yet. So
because Netflix makes good movies.
There's going to be more with that.
Yeah, but this is not one of those good movies that they made.
Well, they can't all be gems.
Yes. They all can't be.
Yeah.
Before we start pooping on this, let's go ahead and go into the plot. So you come in and you see a very broken man. He's 6 months into his journey. There's a large cloud, which is called the chopper cloud, which is a big purple mist and haze. I'm sure all your marijuana people love it because it was like having that euphoric Jimi Hendrix in the experience, purple haze in the sky. But it's just stuff to weird me out.
You'll get there later.
Yeah, I will definitely get there. Yeah. It's definitely obvious that he's a war hero. He's the one of his kind. I mean, they sent him on a one-man mission into outer space. A successful career. First thing I want to talk about, guys, is how insane is it to send one person out of space by themselves? That I understand the plot points of why it was there, but the insanity purpose. I mean, look what actually happens when they do it.
Sure, but what they're really trying to do in a situation like that, because we all know that there's no way he's not Sputnik or whoever the monkey was that they sent to space or the dog in real life.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But he'll
be on the screen.
In this situation, they're just trying to emphasize the alone. I think is what they're really trying to do, is just trying to show how he is alone, and then they woman-splain it through a little girl.
They do.
Aren't you the loneliest guy in the world?
Yeah, that was
cringe.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah,
100%. That was terrible.
I mean, this is a public state.
You don't even have to look left and right. I mean, he's literally all alone up there, and then he's like, "Well, no, I'm not really alone," and he mansplains back to the little girl.
I have all of you beautiful viewers watching me as I die alone in space. Basically.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Thank you so
Like
much.
this. Like
Yeah.
he's all in.
Thanks for tuning in.
The weirdest
Thanks,
angle
yeah.
of his body is that whole thing too. Like it's
Yeah.
creepy. Like
Yeah.
he's a Stephen Hawking fucking cripple in
Yeah.
outer space going,
It is.
sorry. Sorry.
You can cut that part.
Nope. Not doing it. I'm staying with it. Hey, look, that's my Raj reference. That's how I'm going to bring up Raj from Big Bang Theory is Stephen Hawking. So Raj was in this movie, by the way. He wasn't one of the stars. But seeing Raj do a serious film definitely was interesting. I know you're a Big Bang Theory guy, right?
No,
I was.
No, he was.
I
You
was.
were, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do imagine that when Nitro was watching this and he saw that Raj had like 5 o'clock shadow and whatnot,
Exactly.
and he was all grown up, and he goes, "Hey, isn't that Raj from The Big Bang Theory?" But he didn't want to be wrong.
Exactly.
Otherwise, he's just racist. You know,
I am
like
the only white guy in the panel.
you think every Indian guy is just Raj from The Big Bang Theory? You know, he didn't want to be that guy, so he had to ask me. He's like, "Hey, man, is that Raj from The Big Bang Theory?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude, that's Raj from The Big Bang Theory."
That's right.
Sometimes being late is better than being first. Just get you out of trouble.
Yeah, because he did the same thing when the guy today was carrying my groceries to the car. He was like, "Hey, Raj from The Big Bang Theory, thank you so much." Gave him a couple of, tipped him, and no, dude, that's not Raj from The Big Bang Theory, man.
That's not right.
They're not all Raj.
In my defense, he did run off like Raj would try
Well.
to talk to a girl. So I'm not sure
Yeah.
which one of us was that,
Yeah,
but
well,
I mean,
it is what it is.
yeah, we will go with it. But that scene was interesting because look, if we go to the plot of the movie, that chopper cloud has been over the world for 4 years. 4 years, and the Czech Republic is the first people in outer space with the
Well.
South Koreans following, which is a plot cue here in a little bit.
Who wrote the book?
Czech.
Well, yeah. So obviously,
Yeah, it has to be that way.
right.
Because we know that it's not about how we see it,
Right.
Because we are Americans,
right. And
It's
this
just-
is real life
yeah.
versus movies.
Exactly.
Movies aren't
Exactly.
real. But they're trying to take us to
mansplaining
another
me?
real. I am absolutely.
Son of a-
I am man explaining to
Please
you at
do
the
it again.
moment.
I actually like how this feels. I
So-
enjoy mansplaining.
Right, but obviously, if a Czech wrote it, you're going to give it the spin on that. So
Self-identity,
welcome to that universe.
Okay,
where-
then why the South Koreans? Why are the South
don't know.
Koreans
Why
the
not?
second one?
Why not?
Why,
The
The South Koreans are pretty advanced, like for real, like technologically.
Sure.
Really?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I heard they had good internet.
they have great internet.
Yeah.
They have great everything.
Oh,
It's like I would almost say rivals Japan.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started on Japan. I hated every second of Japan, but I'm a big giant man in Japan, and I will. Yeah, I mean, I didn't fit in very well.
Yeah.
That's all right.
But my lovely wife loved the food, so that's all that matters.
I
So-
love Japan. I'm saying it right now.
I lived
Putting it out
there for 10 years.
Yeah, I love Japan.
It was
100%.
incredible. I'm tall in Japan, though. I'm not tall in America, but I'm definitely tall in Japan.
Look, I didn't plan on doing this. But I want everyone to picture this. We went to Universal Studios.
He didn't even fit through the turnstile. I mean, Nate, you're a big guy, especially in Japan.
They put
He
me on the
didn't
fat
even-
ride. They literally stopped the ride to
yeah,
enter
sure.
our cart into the whole thing so I could be on the fat cart.
I'm like, sir, please enter the sumo line.
The sumo was nice. I enjoyed the sumo. The sumo guys were
And it
small
was
to me. That
still
was kind of
snug.
weird.
It was still snug.
That was weird.
Those broad shoulders don't fit anywhere,
Dude, she looked at me and she's like, man, those sumo guys are kind of small.
Yeah.
I mean, well, obviously. I mean, it made me feel better about myself and then not at the same time. Go into this. Obviously, he's in a failed relationship. We're going to talk how horribly he failed as we go through. You guys have both done long distance and everything else. Is
yeah.
long distance make the heart grow fonder, or at the end of the day, is that what destroys all relationships?
For me, it absolutely makes the heart grow fonder, but it's the two people have to be connected in the same way, the same type of effort has to be given from both sides. Otherwise it can disintegrate rapidly.
Well, I'll say I have to agree with you. It disintegrates so fast that you didn't know it happened.
Yep.
But this is I'll call it like somewhat of a good example, but at the same time a terrible example at the same time, because how he goes from she knows he's going to leave. So just to spoil this part of the movie, he leaves and she immediately leaves him. After he goes in
6 months.
Right.
6 months. She waits 6 months.
Well, she stopped answering the phone. But there we go. Yeah, but she leaves him immediately, like once he's like out in space. So it takes like no time. She turns out she's pregnant. She finds she's pregnant. Like apparently, so spoiler again, she's pregnant again because this is the whole point of this movie, right? That's what this is about. You know, I want to talk more about this movie, but 100%, I thought this movie was terrible. It's so hard
From
to
start
get through.
to finish,
It is
honestly.
so hard to get through
Yeah.
because you're hoping that something is going to happen. Especially when you introduce a whole spider.
Right. So
There's a whole spider in space, man. Like
Yeah.
this has to be something. Like they don't even bother to go into. Is this real? Because you want to ask them. Go ahead.
it's just like Gravity, right? In the movie Gravity, you know, George Clooney wasn't there the whole time. You know?
Exactly.
But this time, you know, they're trying to be like, "Oh, is the spider real? Is the spider real, or is he just losing his mind?"
Exactly,
right?
but it sucks at it sucks at the analogy. It sucks at the analogy of it like being imaginative because at the end of the movie, he goes out into a space airlock and the spider drags him into the open area. So apparently, it's not a question of whether or not the spider is real. They've already answered that question.
It's still,
You see what I'm going? It's
Right.
like if it was just left for you to come up with your own conclusion, that would be okay. But you can't.
I actually think it's a little bit of both. That the spider is a manifestation,
Right.
But the particle, you know, there's
Chocolate
obviously
cloud.
something that's alien-y out there,
Exactly.
and because he's also losing his mind, the alien took that like form. So
And,
like the spider
ran
may
with
not
it,
be real, but like alien-y stuff certainly might be. You know,
Right.
and it just manifested that shape. You know, form. Come outside.
Exactly.
You know,
Just come on outside with me.
Yeah.
Carrie Ann,
Like, wait,
that
what?
sounds
Carrie
like a
Ann
great idea.
coming to the TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sounds like a great idea.
I get it, but here's my thing with the distance. I've never been a fan of distance in a relationship. Distance kills everything. They obviously had other issues before they started. They were in a marriage that honestly he didn't respect her as his wife.
But the thing was
entire
that
time
they
he
only
never
had
respected
one
his wife.
issue. That's the issue. Is that they only had one
Yeah.
issue, and that was the thing that I thought was like kind of strange because
Yeah.
it broke them.
You know, the other side of that is where, you know, a man, you know, taking the role of working too much, being a workaholic, you know, when you see those kinds of things, can also, you know, be a contributing factor, you know. So if you're not paying enough attention to your significant other in both ways, successful women can't seem to, you know, in many relationships also seem to have trouble holding on to mates because what the other person fails to realize is that successful people don't have time. The first thing that you sacrifice
Is time.
Is
Correct.
time.
That is 100%,
You know,
brother.
whether it's with your children or your spouse, you know, the first thing, if you want to be in a relationship with somebody uber successful, you're gonna have to understand that you're second fiddle to
Right.
you know, someone trying to aspire to be a CEO or an astronaut in this
Cosmonaut.
a cosmonaut. In this movie, you know.
Right.
So it doesn't surprise me, you know, that a relationship like this was going to be on failure mode from the start.
Exactly.
All the training that has to happen, you know, in order to become a cosmonaut, you know, and you see that, you know, even in the real world, it's like 1 out of 1,000, you know,
Exactly.
make it to that.
Yeah,
a
think how many
unicorn.
people he was going
Yeah.
against. Yeah,
Absolutely.
think how many
It's a
people was going
unicorn.
against to go on that mission.
Right.
That one man mission,
Yeah.
which is insane.
She
You
wants to
said
be
one
with that
man
They
in
said
outer
one
space.
man in outer space for a year, technically, because it's 6 months out, 6 back.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That was a failed mission to start off with. Whoever
Yeah.
came up with those parameters are.
I mean, also, like everything in life, they had to make money. So there's some of the funnier things that I saw that obviously he had to keep on doing those commercials for the anti-bacteria stuff and then the wet wipes. What's the strangest thing that you would endorse for money?
No comment.
No, come on, something.
I don't know.
Look, I would have my own vibrator. I would have my own.
I haven't the slightest idea.
What would you endorse?
They would have to. Throwing wheelbarrows full of money towards me, I wouldn't even know what the most ridiculous.
The Czech government got it. Obviously, they had to pay for that mission that they didn't have money, which makes sense. At least that made sense.
I don't know. I would have to be approached by something and then figure it out from there. I have no idea.
Could you be like Joey and Friends and do gonorrhea? Could you be the gonorrhea spokesman?
Well, yeah, because it's not me, and it's the same thing.
Yeah, he's the actor.
Right, it's just an actor. I'm just acting like I have gonorrhea.
He's acting like he has gonorrhea.
Yeah.
No, so remember the episode in Friends where he's on that public service announcement?
Right.
He's gonorrhea?
Well, that's
going to kill your dating life right there.
But even if it was something like a woman's product like tampons, I wouldn't have a problem, being in line with them.
Tank.
Because I'm not embarrassed by, things I buy. I used to buy them for my daughter, growing up because she didn't want to. She was embarrassed by it. But I'm not, because I know they're not for me. I'm standing in line, and a guy that, very manly guy like Xavier, looks at me and I go, obviously they're not for me. They're for my daughter. And as long as she's bleeding, she's not breeding. Right. And then we high fived because he was like, dude, I never thought of that. And he ran and grabbed a whole box too, so I was just, I don't know what it would be or what would even be considered ridiculous at that state. Give me a product and I don't know.
And now for our first ad, tampons. Frank's going to go ahead and read that one. No, I'm joking. Look at that. Look, we'll endorse it. Look, send it out to us. We'll figure it out. We'll taste. Yeah. We'll taste test
I'll
it.
learn how to horseback ride or play tennis with the lady. I have no
vigorous swimming.
Yeah,
vigorously jumping. Yes.
Some furious.
No, because those commercials used to be with swimming. You'd be like, sweet.
There's no way.
This is what you think about?
Right.
At your time of the month? Swimming? All right, okay. That's the thing. All right.
None of those things make any sense to me.
That'll work. So let's get back to the story. So at one point, the wife character, Carey Mulligan's character, comes out and sends him a video via the Check Connect, which of course is a big giant capsule in outer space that makes AT&T actually work. Oh, sorry, my bad. Verizon, Sprint, you put whatever way in there. Anyway, she sends him a message that somehow gets intercepted, which makes sense because why wouldn't Big Brother be listening to all the messages that go out via all of them? And the government picks it up first, and she basically tells him that she wants to leave him. So my question to you gentlemen is, if you get this message, do you send it to him?
No, I don't. I think that was, and they don't. They think they delete it, right?
That was the most realist thing I would say in this movie.
Yeah, because
he is the make or break for the entire mission.
Yeah.
And if he loses his mind in the middle of the mission, that's in the mission.
You get some super bad news like that, maybe he just goes, none of this was worth anything, and he just doesn't work as hard or doesn't work at all. Yeah,
that was the most realist part of the movie.
Yeah. I would have waited also, and just been telling him, the whole time, like, hey, everything's fine, everything's good, Yeah,
this movie seemed to be a lot of moral conundrums, like thrown together, right? Like I said, the little ads that they put in there. He needs to save his life, but he has to say an ad before he pulls the switch, in order to save what he thinks to save his own life. Yeah. So, like I said, it's very it's a bunch of moral conundrums.
So let's double tap to that first. Our first let's back this up. So obviously the spider, Harnoosh is actually the name that he gives him.
Yeah, because we never talked about that yet. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, makes sense.
Harnoosh is the spider's name that he gives it. Now the spider's been watching him this entire time. There's a little airlock, a vacuum that he keeps on turning because he likes the sound of it. Again, spoilers.
No, that's the toilet.
Yeah,
that's the toilet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's the toilet.
Yes, that's the toilet. So in space, you poop or whatever you do vertically upright, and the whole thing he had is the thing that goes around.
The stuff. Yeah.
So it looked uncomfortable. I did like the poop scene.
Yeah.
Any scene in the movie where I can watch someone poop is definitely.
But I want to know what the hell he's eating in space that's making him have these Clydesdale style. It was all the Nutella. It's just making him poop like a rhinoceros, breaking the toilet over and over.
Yeah. So if you guys out there was wondering what that was actually the toilet that he was on.
Okay.
Like,
so I appreciate that. I didn't realize that was so. Anyway, the spider or Harnoosh loved the sound of it, so we kept on going to it. Obviously, the first thing that he cut out was the cameras because if you're a big giant spider in outer space, you don't want them to see you coming. So that makes sense why the camera's cut out. But he definitely introduces himself, and then the first response from a human being is, "Oh, no, it doesn't make any movement towards him. It's gonna kill me. I'm gonna run. I need to kill it." That's our humanity right there, right?
Well, yeah, I think
That's about right.
Arachnophobia, and people, that are afraid of all sorts of things, but spiders is a manifestation of a very real fear that a lot of people have. So, even in my own house, I would throw anything at if I saw a spider that size, I would throw everything I had in my living room at it.
It was with a cuddly panda. Would you still throw, like, if a cuddly panda, he opens that door and it's a cuddly panda, do you try to kill it too?
Well, sure, because I thought I was alone. I thought I was completely alone.
And that's the whole, let's say that's the whole kicker part. He did think he was alone.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he wasn't alone.
Yeah.
But once again, I don't know. They just did a terrible job introducing the character, how it happened, or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
How did he get in if he need to go outside? Like, is he capable of phasing through matter?
Right.
That's
it's the same with that particle, that obviously came through the wall, and then but somehow, even though it went through the wall, he it went into the vacuum.
Yeah. And it stayed in the vacuum.
Exactly.
So same with the spider. I'm sure there's plenty of holes here, that you're going to ask those questions, but for the sake of even moving such a terrible movie,
it's
forward,
really,
they were just like,
let's keep it going. Yeah, keep it going. Like, just have them asking questions, because I think the whole point of this movie was to make the audience ask, is this spider real?
Yeah.
But the problem is, like I said before, is that it was so terrible.
Yeah.
At how they
nobody even wants to talk about it.
You don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, by the end, you just don't care.
Yeah. You just kind of realize as the movie's moving forward that he just has a lot of regret.
Right. Right.
Didn't want to lose the love of his life, and
he should have, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know how you take all that abuse, but at the same time, that's a little early. I want to ask you this. So the thing that bothered me is every time he talked to the spider, no one else heard it. And that's where I think they're going with the imaginary character a little bit. He kept on having to hit that thing to talk sometimes, but even when he was with the Check to Connect and it was out, and he was talking to the spider, my thing was, does the spider telepathy? Because again, it penetrated his mind and it came out of his nose, and it manifested in his own dreams.
Right. But that's kind of why, I think, they left it ambiguous the way that they did, so you could, draw your own conclusions to it. But I do think it was, personally, that it was actually both, because, it was whatever that thing is, because then he has another hallucination when he's outside in the purple haze, and it's basically, and Hanush is like, this is your life. And I'm like, why do you have to give me your sex voice?
So that's what I'm saying. So that's another thing. Like, what is with his voice? Like, for real. I mean, I get it. It's supposed to be,
but now I need to call Domino's back and apologize, because that's how I order all of my pizzas, because I feel so delicious when I'm like, extra pepperoni.
You must get the best pizzas, man. The best pizzas in the world. Like, you get extra cheese, and like, yes,
I have to apologize to Domino's,
Oh, man.
I gotta apologize to a lot of fast food places, because I order all of my food that way.
So I blame the character development of the spider on the narcissism and the self-centeredness of Adam Sandler's or Jacob's character. This is why. From day one, what is the main purpose of NASA? What's the main purpose of NASA?
It's not NASA.
Okay, what's the main purpose of Star Trek? Hold on. What's Star Trek?
Explore, that's the final frontier.
To do what?
To find in search of alien life.
Yeah.
And do what?
Seek out new life and civilization.
Yeah. And boldly go where no man has gone before.
So he's gone there. He's there.
Right.
He's there with a entity that he knows nothing about. You know what he cares about? Not asking him any questions. He asked him like 4 questions the entire time.
Well, exactly. But I don't know. So that's what I mean. What makes you're bringing up like points like I was saying, what makes this movie like so bad.
Right. But it's kind of like Captain Obvious though, because he had to go all the way out there to find out that the problems were inside at all times,
Isn't that not the definition of mansplaining there?
Absolutely.
No, but I'm 100% with you. Like, he was never an astronaut. He was a worker.
Yeah.
That was it. He just worked. He just
Work,
saw it.
work.
He saw it as a stepping stone, and he made it to the top of the whatever you want to call it.
And then he found out it's lonely at the top.
Exactly.
You know, if you have nobody to share the view with you up there, none of it matters.
There's no point.
Right.
True.
Exactly.
So the interesting part here is while his wife's down there on Earth with her pregnancy, and she decides to go to a woman's home and all that, all the women in the movie treat her like shit, man. They shit on her hardcore the entire time.
Yeah, this is a hard movie. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, it was painful.
Yeah, it was. Because I was like, wait a minute. So there's a whole home for like women who have kids, and then on top of that, you have the nerve to even. I can't even express how I felt when I saw that scene. I was like, wait, so she's gonna leave a stable home to go to a house with a bunch of single mothers, right? Nothing's.
And then they mean girls her.
And then they mean girl her.
You know,
like what is that?
Which mean girl is she?
Like exactly like what?
All of them.
Yeah,
You know?
That's my whole point. Like what is this? Her mom even tells her like, hey, why are you leaving this guy?
Yeah.
Like you knew he was an astronaut. Like what are you doing? And she's just like, you're right. I should have left him earlier. You're like, what? wait. Is that before he went on a mission or what? At least at the very let him know.
Let's say what do you think the evolution of this relationship is? 5-10 years at this point, give or take?
Oh no, I honestly, well, actually, yeah, maybe a decade, at least a decade long. Especially if they only have like a baby
child,
kid. Maybe. And how old was the kid? Or
well, remember they had a kid that wasn't a kid either. She had a miscarriage.
Yeah, the miscarriage. And if that happened early in the relationship, and it takes time to heal. And to process. Which also can either sometimes bring people together or tear them apart.
Tear them apart. Yeah.
So even if they had struggled through some of that, at least 10 years. Which is a long time to form a bond. With somebody.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a point that sticks out.
I respect the fact that they tried to tackle legitimate, issues in like, personal and professional relationships, but there's just a way better way of going
and as
about
I said, this movie, it was very personal. I can say like this movie was super personal. It just wasn't good as a personal movie.
It could have been great, but This is
what I keep saying. I want to say a lot of good things. I want to say the truth. I want to say a lot of good things about this movie. But
go ahead.
After
it's like
list
4. List 4.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Say 4.
That's what my point. I say I want to.
Okay.
I didn't say I could.
I liked the title.
Yeah.
The title was a good hook.
That's about it. Yeah. The title.
And nothing else.
Yeah. The title. He was in space. That was 2. That was
I
was
like
number 2.
Adam Sandler.
Yeah, I like Adam
gotta
Sandler.
I gotta be honest. For a man like Adam Sandler, to bridge the gap between comedy and and being a serious actor. There are plenty of things that he's done that are serious that I absolutely love.
Great.
I loved him in
Uncut Gems was terrific.
That's what I wrote down. I was just saying like it's not because of Adam Sandler because he is a good actor.
But
it's just that
I do have to give props to a man that can make his living going like that physical comedy and whatnot that he got in through Saturday Night Live and everything else that he had done from there, and Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, and the things But I also loved him even in those crossover comedies like Anger Management. God, I thought
him and Jack Nicholson in that movie,
absolutely.
Dude.
It was just spectacular. But you got to know your lane. And for Adam Sandler, I also loved him in that basketball movie. I can't remember the name of it. He was a scout.
Hustle and Flow.
No,
Hustle and Flow. It's called Hustle something else.
But he was a talent scout.
We'll have it on the screen
for the Sixers, and he grabbed somebody. It was terrific.
He put his whole career
amazing.
on it.
Yeah. He was amazing in that. But like this, every once in a while, even Babe Ruth strikes out, and this was one of those.
Like, big time.
This for me was also a strikeout.
I still
love
think,
you, Adam.
How hard is it? How many actors? A great actor like Matt Damon can pull that off. Alone in outer space.
You're not allowed to use Matt Damon's name.
So Matt Damon is a cuss word. We'll talk about that another time. But there's only so many actors that can pull.
No more
scenes
resources for Matt Damon. Okay. Matt Damon has rescued too many times. throughout his whole career. All right, so we can cut out Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm glad they didn't see Matt Damon.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, this movie would have started off, and I want to see the shuttle explode or something.
Yeah, exactly. You know, there were 14 fights on the last UFC, and I was there. And if Matt Damon would have been there just for you, there would have been 15 fights at that UFC. This is for Xavier, you know.
Wait till we get to directors someday. But there's only so many actors that can pull off roles by themselves and alone. I mean, look at Tom Hanks.
Yeah, and Adam Sandler is one of them.
Yeah.
You know, he can carry an entire movie, just not this time.
Yeah,
you know, it just really wasn't.
Yeah.
It fell short for me as
Yeah.
well. I definitely can't hate on you guys for that. So just to go ahead and keep on keying up through here, she's going through her problems, and they're bonding over food. I did think that was another thing to hit for me. Like, what's the best way to bond? Like Transformers, Bawi, Nawan, Bawi, Grunimon. They bond with the things, the mechs on the planet by giving them food. Food bonds us all together. Food makes us all happy.
Food is love. You know,
Yeah.
it's the way that, you know, you bake cookies for somebody if you love them, you know, things like that.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that's a very real, you know, characteristic, you know, that a lot of us carry along, you know, and it also shows, you know, who can and who can't, you know, and it's the thought that counts. You know, I can't tell you how many things I've eaten from my children, you know, when they were like, "Dad, we made you breakfast," you know, and it's got a sock in it, you know, and I'm like, "Oh, it's so good." it's so good. Go get me some water and call 911. You know, it's just kind of, you know, but especially when you love somebody and they can't cook, you know, and you go, "Oh yeah, it's great, but don't make me any more of that."
Yeah, it does unite the clans very well. At this point, again, we're robbed, and I blame, and it's on purpose. I'm going to give them credit that this is on purpose. That we know nothing about this spider because Adam Sandler's character doesn't care. All he cares about is his own little narrow tunnel of life, and he doesn't even think to expand his horizons with that spider.
and it's quite possible that's just kind of reinstilling the fact that, you know, if he was a selfish man, you know, throughout his career, you know, and he always put himself first, you know, that just kind of reinstills even for the viewers, you know, that, you know, this man is selfish and can't even ask where you're from, you know,
Right.
how are
Doesn't
you
care.
doing?
There's no
you know?
basic, like,
'cause he obviously
like-
didn't do that with
Exactly.
How
his
was
wife.
your day
Yeah.
going
Right.
today, Spider?
You know, it was always just like, "I'm so tired from being a cosmonaut today.
Exactly.
Did cosmonaut things today, so give me my sandwich and I'm gonna go to sleep."
You're banned from this room.
You know?
I've instated your privileges on this room. I mean, that's the only positive thing he says to him. But we found out that the Gromids, again, we get no plot basis, but I'm going to spoil it for you. Gromids are virus or bacteria that's been attacking his body this entire time.
But the crazy part is, like, why doesn't it attack Adam Sandler? It's because remember these Gromids took out a whole civilization.
Because
Yeah.
he that 99.9% thing that he injected in the air saved him, right? That was
I
a bad
guess.
infomercial.
See,
That's a joke. I mean,
No,
I'm
no,
just
no.
saying,
But,
like,
now it's
remember,
still
it
there.
did happen, though. That's
Right.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
It actually did happen. Because remember, he said, like,
Yeah.
it didn't hurt my skin. And, yeah. The
Yeah, it's
most
just-
insane part is that did he even ask him his name?
so they
No,
don't do
because
names.
he asked if he had a name
Yeah.
or something
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah,
and he's
they
like,
don't do
"I've
names.
never been. Nobody's ever called
Exactly.
me." So he's like, "All right, you know, would it make you feel better if I had a name?"
And that's what
You
I'm
know?
saying. I was like, what is with this movie?
What even is
That's
that?
what I'm saying. Yeah, like, what is with this? Like, all of this.
Right. So he's like, "Yeah, if it makes you feel better, you know, call me whatever you want." I'm just glad he picked, you know, something suitable for all members of
But
the
you know
viewing
what Adam
audience.
Sandler doesn't tell him the entire movie? His name.
his name.
Oh,
And that's what I mean.
He calls him Skinny Human the entire
Skinny
That's what I
Human.
was
Yeah.
saying. Like, because that's what he kept saying.
I've never been called, but I would love
Yeah.
to be called Skinny Human even once in my life. I've never been called Skinny Human, but I don't deserve it.
But my whole point was like, what was his reference to Skinny Human? That was
Yeah.
another thing, because it was like,
Yeah.
remember he had been observing the Earth for like thousands of years apparently. Because spoiler alert again, this spider is as old as the universe apparently.
Yeah.
An all-knowing spider.
Yeah, like what was that? Like that's just so many things that so many.
So
What that's what I'm saying. Like
Yes.
it's so many opportunities lost in this whole movie.
Yeah.
I want to downplay it back, and I want to go to something crazy. What would you name the alien?
What do I name him?
Yeah, what would you name him?
Let's call him Spidey, man.
You call him Spidey?
Yeah,
Spidey.
Spidey.
But Spider-Man's already taken.
No, because I just say Spidey. Because I can't say Spider-Man. I say Spidey.
Do you think that maybe doesn't identify as a spider?
He doesn't have to identify as a spider.
Yeah.
It's what I see him as.
Yeah.
Oh, fair. I like it. What you got?
I got nothing, man.
You're not going to call him anything? What are you going to call him? Hey, spider person.
All I know.
Skinny spider.
All I know is that little girls don't have the lung capacity to make the noise that I would have made if I saw. It would have been higher than that, you know.
Oh, no.
And he would have thought that was his name, and I'm like, "Hi, my name's you know, like it just. That I would have.
So that pitch would have resonated on like dogs and like Jupiter somewhere.
They would have heard it in L.A. from Jupiter, and there is no sound in space. That's how loud I would have screamed seeing when I thought I was all alone up there. You know.
So be it. All right. So if anyone doesn't know, I have a major problem with religion. I'm just going to throw it out there. I'm confirmed and baptized Lutheran. This chopper cloud is called the beginning, right? And you said the one of the things that led me to he's been watching us for 1,000 years. If someone of the indoctrinated or the doctrinated, which however you want to call yourselves, looked at that being, they would see it as an all-powerful being, knowing and learning and all that stuff. And you mix that with the chopper cloud, and you basically show that the Big Bang Theory, Raj, was what actually started the universe and not a god. I honestly think that take is an atheist take or a non-religion based take on what actually the way the world was created, and that's why that cloud is coming back to claim the earth.
I could understand a parallel drawn, you know, why you would draw a parallel, you know, to something like that, because every end has a beginning and the things like that. And even when he goes out there, it takes him back to kind of like the beginning of his life. You know, and
like a flashback, like we're seeing everything towards the end.
You know, so you know, some whatever deity that you believe in, you know, that makes you a better person along the way, you know, would likely do something like that. So if I can understand why somebody would draw, you know, would draw that conclusion, you know, that maybe, you know, this is some sort of supreme, you know, certainly higher intelligence for, you know,
right.
You know, in the grand design.
Yeah, but God can't die though, too. So that's an interesting part where you watch God die in front of you.
Well, I mean, Hanush isn't really God.
He's not God.
He's not
like
God,
he's not
but
God.
I can understand why somebody might think, you know,
he would
in that.
Be, yeah.
But even with that, if he just became part of the cloud, he didn't really, you know, he's like, it's eating me alive, you know, or whatever he had said there. But he's just assimilated back into the matter of the universe.
Well, see, that's the thing is that, you know what's weird when you said that? So this is the thing that I had a problem with also, was how he apparently was afraid to die. Not only was he afraid to die because death was like a real thing to him. Because if he knows that there is no death, right?
Then what
is he afraid of?
Right. Well, all of a sudden you're scared.
And that's what I said. That's the problem that I had, because they couldn't. I don't know if the writers couldn't like deal with the conflict inside of this movie, you know, because like I said, like this is bringing up a lot of spirituality in the movie. This movie technically, I believe, was supposed to be a very spiritual, personal movie. But they couldn't pull it off. Yeah. Right?
I blame the Czechs for once, you know. Instead of blaming the Americans, I get to blame the Czechs.
That's it. Got to blame somebody else this time. Like, my whole, like, to me, a good movie that actually, like, kills it is a movie called Moon. It's with Moon, all right? That's with Sam Rockwell.
Where can we find that?
And Kevin Spacey.
Okay.
Yeah. It's now, that movie is everything that this movie is not.
Yeah.
Right. It explains the storyline. It is amazing. It is an amazing.
Is that movie. An early 2000s?
Yeah, it's like a 2000 maybe 6 or 7.
I'll have to look that up.
Did Sam Rockwell dance in it?
Sam Rockwell did dance in it.
See, he dances in everything.
He dances in every movie.
I told you when we watched Argyle that dude dances in everything.
Yeah, just like Brad Pitt eats in every one of his movies. You know,
everybody got their thing. Everybody, I call it finishing move. His finishing move is dancing.
Finish him.
Yeah. Van Damme used to do the splits no matter where he was.
No matter where he was.
You know,
even with he's got that dance scene in like Double Take or whatever it is. Where he did.
I think that was Kickboxer. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, that was.
He's got that. He's dancing like Donald Trump and like he's double jerking off people. You know? Like
Not that I have a man crush on Jean-Claude Van Damme, but I've literally seen everything he did: Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Hard Target,
Lionheart,
Double Impact. You know, all of them.
One day we're gonna do like an 80s
Because like I
ramp
think,
up
and
of
even
all
one of
that.
them, like he brushes his teeth in the splits just for no reason at all, and it's just spectacular.
Well, what about the scene when Ogre walks in Bloodsport? He's saying, "Man, that looks uncomfortable." He sits down, drinks his beer, and he's like, "Man,
Bird to Frankie, you know, are you even ready?" You know, like it's. I'm ready, you know, after it's just spectacular.
and tangent release.
Exactly.
Back to the spider. So the spider actually has this moment of what I actually think the spider going through his full humanity moment is. He gets mad at Adam Sandler's character because he's the cause of all his problems. He looks at him and goes like, dude, I've had your back this entire time.
Yeah,
I wanted to say you were the victim.
Yeah, and
you
you're
were
just
not.
Trash bag in space.
Yeah, you are.
You know,
Like for real, floating trash bag.
right? So he had to be alien-splained.
Yeah.
You know
how
'cause
bad of a person he
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
You know?
How's that feel? I
Yeah.
mean, damn.
You know,
Yeah.
I just looked at it. I was like,
Yeah.
wow, everyone's leaving you now, man. Honestly, if you're going to commit suicide, that's the moment.
ooh, baby, tell me again.
All right, enough of this movie. Enough of this movie.
I got one more.
Tell him how it ends. We gotta tell him how it
I got
ends.
one more.
We gotta tell him how it ends.
We are all three successful people in life. And as you said before, the first thing that successful people sacrifice is time. One of the themes or that thing they keep stabbing, what is the price of success? And at this point, he's put his entire career in front of him. Now, he did have daddy issues. His father, they show, was on the wrong side of a political coup, wrong side, and he just happened to, go through it. So he's obviously been picked on his entire life. He's one of those kids that had to redeem the family name. He's wearing it on his shoulder like it's a badge of honor. But, I mean, these are the sacrifices that you make for excellence, right?
Sure.
That's right.
There's no other way forward, right? And we had the conversation before we started taping about it, and I was going to be a little more anti-man. I get it. I mean, look, if anything, she should have known the man she married before she went into this. And I blame her for that concept that you can't just leave someone when they're on the 5-yard line.
Sure, but what you got to remember, though, even in relationships, is that everybody wants the attention, so I also don't blame her, because if he is not aware enough that she has needs,
Fair.
Oh
yeah, fair.
and he has needs, and even in a very long and loving relationship, sometimes you get, you take each other for granted.
Right.
Sometimes you give more, but if all he did this entire time, or at least she felt like all he did was take, that's what led her to that position, and he was just too blind in his own work to see it, because there's always signs. You don't just wake up one day, and go like, oh man, I never got the attention that I felt like I deserved or anything like that. Right. There are signs along the way. I think both parties in this situation, he was selfish, maybe she didn't, maybe she didn't say it. She didn't vocalize the things to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair.
Yeah.
Because men love to fix things, and if she says, "Hey, I'm not paying enough attention," you'd be like, "Oh, well, let's go get ice cream."
Right.
Like there would be something, to hold on to.
Ice cream fixes everything. I agree with that.
It does so much.
Yeah, this is it's very analogous to a military relationship.
There you go.
100%.
Being
Deployments.
undeployed. Yeah,
Yep.
You're out there, and you're thinking everything is good with your spouse back home, and next thing you know, you're getting a Dear John letter.
Jody.
Yeah, you get Dear Jody or John, whatever. Yeah,
Sure.
And here you are. You're like, what literally just happened? Mm-hmm. So it's a little, like I said, it is both. It's on both parties' part. I mean, like on both parties. But like I said, this movie is somewhat too close, you know what I mean?
It does hit close to home,
it's
like
very close,
right.
While at the same time,
if the thing that you're learning, is not this that it's an awful movie, but the message that they give you, is very real.
Yeah,
know,
it's good messages.
it is a good message.
Bad format.
Yeah.
That's the best way to put it. Good message, bad format.
So with me, it made me self-reflect a little bit because I've definitely put career above everything in my entire life, and it made me sit there and think about what my direction is with kind of where I want to go with my future wife, and dial back some things and then do that. And there's opportunities always to go other places, but I mean, honestly, at this point in my career,
Right.
whatever keeps me as close to her as possible is what's going to be my purpose.
That's sort of the beauty of life and your own experiences along the way, is that when you lose something, you may find something else along the way that may be better, and if you want to hold on to it, you remember the mistakes that were made in a past relationship, and then it helps you work on not making those same mistakes with someone that you may care about even more.
Right.
It actually for me strengthens where you're trying to be with your soulmate,
Right.
or who you thought may have been your soulmate, turned out it wasn't, and then you get to do even better.
Yeah.
If you're able to acknowledge mistakes in the past, you can prevent those mistakes in the future.
And I think we'll wrap that up with what they're saying there. I mean, they end up getting back together. She takes him back. The Spider and Adam Sandler go into a weird force drag out into a psychedelic Jimi Hendrix Purple Haze.
They just go out into space. They
experience.
Space and,
what do you think he saw? What do you think he saw in the chopper cloud? What, I mean, we're not going to be. We don't.
he didn't, that's
imagine.
the thing. He didn't see anything. Chopper Cloud. All he had was memories, and then from that point on, he's floating out there, and then there is the South Korean spaceship.
The satellite.
Yeah. That was South Korea. That was it, and that's when the movie goes on.
And it's like the end, and then he gets a phone call home. He gets a
phone home.
Yeah, he phones home.
Yeah.
And then she delivers that really good line at the end. Because he's, like, hey, he's basically saying, hey, can we try again?
Exactly.
would you kiss me?
Yeah.
She's like, well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's a good line.
They had that Look, I've never had a telepathy link with anyone.
Yeah.
But if we're gonna take what that end result was, that the chopper cloud, that particle, connected them at that moment when they needed it the most, and it changed their lives forever.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with it.
And I do want to say that may have been like the thing for me, that if you're trying to be every woman. I think if anybody was going to forgive anybody and let you try it again, it would be from a woman's standpoint. I think women are far more forgiving, and patient and understanding.
Do you think she did it because of fear?
No,
fear
not at all.
alone?
I think at the end of the day that she really does realize how much their love meant, and that hard things happen during their journey together, But if you had to do it all over again, and you knew that it was going to be hard anyway, would you want to do it with anybody else? And I think in her situation, especially knowing that he's probably going to be more attentive, knowing that this is what almost drove them apart, that she will get, if they did it again, that they're already compatible. So why not, because it would only be better. Because it was already pretty good, for a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, now he's going to be a hero coming back, too. I mean, I don't understand how he's going to rationalize jumping into... That was one of the dumbest moves. Like, I understand that he was going to go save the Spider, okay? But his end result was, let me go ahead and attach hook myself to a thing, then jetpack myself with the decontaminant, whatever.
Makes an accelerant.
He made a jetpack in outer space.
Yeah.
Buzz Lightyear was like, dude, that's not going to work.
Well, when he wasn't fixing the toilet, he was probably watching Gravity, is basically...
What's that Matt Damon movie in outer space called?
It worked, Interstellar.
But that kind of brings it all full purpose here. It's pretty hard the other day. The Rainbowner of Power has been retired. The excellence scale, which you see depicted on your screen, and will now be taken over. Any innuendos and any apologies from the Rainbowner of Power. I think I'm supposed to read a statement. I'm not going to read the whole statement. But anyway, Xavier, how'd you feel about this movie?
I did not like this movie. Like, I'm not. Were you still using the same rating scale or?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna call it dull. Let's just say dull.
Dull.
Yeah, dull. Maybe atrocious. I'm not gonna say pure atrocious. I'm not gonna call it absolute waste, but I'm just calling like.
Yeah.
Because it still has a message in the movie.
Right.
But when someone asked me to watch this movie, no way. I couldn't be like, man, you know what a good way to waste 2 hours of your life and not know what happened? Yeah, that's about as far as like if you want to fall asleep watching something, this is what you put on.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
You
There's literally zero, there's no loud noise, there's no this movie is meant to put you to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's basically what it comes down to.
There's other movies like that too, like Jack and Jill, which also starred Adam Sandler. Pretty sure it was Jack and Jill, and it won a whole bunch of Razzies.
Yeah, one of the worst rated movies
along
ever.
the way. And I like to defend that movie, not because I loved it, because it made like $30 million. So he laughed all the way to the bank, even though people were like, because then people wanted to watch it to see how bad it was, you know, or whatever. But you know, whatever target audience he was looking for, he made $30 million on that movie. I'm sure this movie is going to make its money. It's not about fooling people. There is a good message. I agree with you, Xavier. There's a terrific message in there, but the way that they gave it to me was really boring. You know, I there was not anything for me. I'm going with dull. You know, I just think at the end of the day, it is something that I watched. But if I did see this on TV, I would literally do anything else.
Anything.
You know.
So I'm not watching this again. That's not happening. I've already had to watch it twice because of the formula that we do to review these things.
It's a glutton for punishment over here.
I'm going to go with Insipid.
He actually does everything twice.
Hey, if you can't get it done once the first time, do it again. But Insipid, Adam Sandler's performance saves it. He at least gives me some redeemable concept. I really look. The Czech space program should be very unhappy with his performance in outer space because they made him look like they were the kindergarten level.
Don't make a second one of these.
Oh no, there's no.
Yeah,
please don't. No, agreed. So, well, I think this makes it pretty easy. We're gonna slide over to our long-term scale here. Would you put it above Poor Things?
Absolutely not.
Or
absolutely not. Yeah, put it at the very, very bottom.
So like the small print in the bottom right or something like that?
Yeah, copyright.
That.
Yeah, where the copyright is, put it below that.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That sounds about right.
That sounds about right.
I just put you just put down it happened.
It happened.
That would be my rating for it. It happened. Yeah.
It happened.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go with it. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, this is the saddest part of the program. We're going to leave you for a while. We appreciate everything you guys liked or love to hate. Everything you saw, smash that subscribe and like button. You guys are the best. This is why we do this. Thank you for the time. See ya.
See ya.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings the program to its unfortunate end. If you liked or hated it so much you can't wait to see what we say next, smash that subscribe and like button. Join the family. Join the ride.